So you're probably wondering, who is this guy and why did he quit Smma? But I quit. And that's simply because I was following all the gurus, all the YouTubers online that you probably watch yourself. Bought the courses, I spent the $14.99, and I was pretty much making no money at all. But once I made the switch and once I made the changes that I'm about to tell you in this video, I ended up making $106,000 in a single month. And I know you think that's crazy, but I've got all the proof. I've got pretty much everything that you would like to see. And what that's pretty much allowed me to do is all the stuff that you see all these guys online talking about. I've been able to take care of my mom, buy her nice things. I've took the trips to Dubai, the first class flights with my mom, and I've even drove the luxury cars. So in this video, I'm going to be breaking down exactly what I did in a step-by-step guide so you have the clarity on how something like this is actually possible. And now when I say step by step, I do mean step by step. So with that being said, let's jump right into this video. So it all started when I was 16 years old. And like any 16-year-old, I was on Instagram Reels. And that's when I stumbled upon these two guys, Andrew Tate and Iman Gadzhi. Now, it was here where the dream began to form. And now, of course, I didn't make any changes right away. I didn't say, okay, I'm going to be an entrepreneur. But this is where the gradual change began. One thing you need to understand is that change is gradual when there is less punishment to stay where you are. But guess what happened? I became more and more aware of the fact that my single mom was always complaining about the fact that we didn't have money. The fact that whenever I asked for something new clothes, new shoes, basic stuff, so I can, keep up, I would get told no, almost like what I was asking for costed an arm and a leg. And the fact that I could never eat out, I always had to eat a home cooked meal. And I love my mom's cooking, but sometimes you do want to go out. And the fact that I couldn't hang out with my friends as often as I wanted to because, surprise, surprise, outside activities cost money. Now, like I said earlier, change is always gradual when there is less punishment to stay where you are. But there came a time when the punishment for remaining where I was became so high that I needed to change immediately. And when this happened, it was on a night in December 2020, and I was on FaceTime with all my boys, all my friends, right? And Christmas was only 5 days away. The PlayStation 5 had just come out last month, and all my friends were aiming to get it for Christmas so we could all play together. I wanted that for Christmas more than anything. So I went and asked my mom. And it wasn't even the fact that she told me no. It was the way she told me no so fast without even hesitating or thinking about it at all. I then had to go back to my friends on my FaceTime on my phone and tell them that I wouldn't be getting the PS5 just because it was expensive. It was pretty expensive. It was $500 and I couldn't afford it. Now, yes, these guys were my friends, but when I told them I couldn't afford the PS5, the way all five of these guys started dying laughing on FaceTime with me it just hit a little bit different, to say the least. And now when you pair this entire situation along with some light-skinned bald head guy that's calling you a brokey every single time you open Instagram and a stud who flexes every single thing that you don't have, this is when it became unbearable to stay in the same place that I was. So I changed forever. And this is when video games turned into education, hanging out turned into staying inside and reading, and doing dumb shit turned into brainstorming ways I can make money. And after consuming more content, I was sold. But what I was sold was a dream. And so after a year of working and saving, I was able to buy Agency Navigator. Now, I have nothing against Iman Gadzhi's course or anything with him, but I ended up realizing that I was sold a dream and not a solution. Now, what happened next, right? I tried to make it work. I tried and I tried again. But no matter how many cold emails I sent over 5,000, and I would even skip lunch. I would go into study hall. All I would do was send cold emails. I sent over 5,000. It was no matter how many free trials I offered, no matter how hard I tried, nothing worked. And it even got so bad that I had to lower my services, the price on my services, to $350 per month. I could have made more money working at McDonald's. And so I found myself in a tunnel, right? Now, when you're in this tunnel, you genuinely feel so lost and confused. This is because you've genuinely tried, right? You've most likely tried pretty fucking hard as well. And it just seems like nothing is working. In every tunnel, though, there's always that light at the end of the tunnel. But when you're in this one specifically, it's just I swear it's just so hard to see. It's like impossible to see this light. And I began thinking, I've been doing this for a while. How am I not rich yet? Or how am I not at least making 10K per month, right? Why is no one buying from me? Why is my calendar so empty? Why can I not close deals? Does my offer suck? Does this agency thing even work? And why am I so unlucky? Now, in this entire time, I tried and I genuinely applied myself. And through this entire time, my mom was still complaining to me about how we didn't have a lot of money. I was still couldn't buy the things I wanted. I couldn't eat out, nothing, right? So I'll be honest, I quit. I stopped doing the broken model I was doing before. It simply did not and does not work. Now I was feeling more lost and helpless than ever, literally. But the reason I felt so lost and helpless is just simply because I did not know what to do. Now, it's true that in any given point in time in this situation, I would have done literally anything, like anything to be successful. It's just that I didn't know what I needed to do. And this brings me to the fact that your outcome will always be determined by the amount of knowledge you have times the action that you take. That equals outcome. Now, if you don't know the input to output equation for how you're going to be successful, you will not be successful. Plain and simple. So let's talk about what I did. Now, to be successful, you don't have to reinvent the wheel. I realized that if I studied what other successful people did before me, then I too would likely be successful. I ended up finding Alex Hormozy online and finding his full business blueprint on how he scaled and sold his business for $46.2 million. Now, this is everything that I found. I found the exact frameworks he used, how he structured his business, and what exactly it was that he was selling to gym owners. And so I was able to study this. I figured out how he creates his offers, how he prices them, and the mechanisms he uses to get results for these gym owners. And what this allowed me to do was create something called the leverage consultant funnel. And now this is the funnel that pretty much changed my entire life. This is the funnel that changed everything for me. 2 weeks after fully installing this funnel, I hit my first ever $6.5 thousand month. 1 month later, I hit my first $20,000 month. And 6 months after initially installing this, I hit my first ever $100,000 month. And now I consistently do $30,000 weeks and $15,000 in a single day. This is the exact funnel that's allowed me to actually take care of my mom, take the trips to Dubai, all the influencer stuff, take the first class flights as well, and drive the luxury cars. But I was curious whether I caught a lucky break or I actually had a real system here that actually worked. So I tested it out on a few people and the results were just as insane. We had more $4,500 days. Adine closer collected a 1K split pay, more 4K, almost 5K days. Keno, who booked 104 appointments in a single month, ended up closing 3K deals and in 3 weeks added 11,000 in new monthly recurring revenue. And Milos, who collected $500 deposits, 1.5K PIFs as well. So let's get into how this system actually works and the actual steps that you need to take to implement this. Now, the first thing is the offer. You've likely heard this before, but this is still one of the most important things. But here I did something that most people simply don't. Now, the coaching model will make you rich. The agency model is what keeps you rich. Now, in its simplest form, coaching is just the exchange of knowledge for money. In the simplest form, the agency model is just the exchange of services for money. Now, what I did was I combined both of these elements. And the coaching model can be delivered in a number of ways. You can deliver your knowledge in the form of protocols, SOPs, content, and frameworks. And the agency model is simply just the systems and infrastructure that you actually install. You're implementing things for people. A few examples is growth campaigns, paid ads, appointment setters, etc. The first thing is simply understand what your market wants so you can provide them the solution that they need. Now, in order to provide them the solution they need, you need to solve the full gap. It makes it easier for prospects to say yes, allows you to charge higher ticket and actually get better results. Now, what the full gap is understanding your client's initial situation and bridging the gap between every problem that will get them to their end goal. Now, our clients have multiple problems, and the issue was you're typically only solving one or a few problems and not getting them to their entire dream scenario. But since they have more problems, they will be left unfulfilled. And that doesn't mean that the problems aren't going to be solved. They're just going to go to someone else to solve those problems. And that's money that we could have been getting paid. When I did this for my market, I was able to create offers that my market would literally beg me for. On the sales call, they would literally tell me, this is the best offer I've ever heard, regardless of the price. I had the exact mechanisms needed. I targeted the most profitable market segments. I had the full solution. And because of this, I charged a lot. And now when I say a lot, I mean signing 93 high ticket clients in 90 days. And this is what that pretty much looked like. As you can see, the lowest I got paid was $3,000. The highest, $7,300 for a single client. The next step is you need to get attention. The problem was I didn't have consistent and reliable ways to get attention. I was only using one channel. So I installed all three. And that means outbound, organic, and paid traffic. Now you can easily just do one. Doing just one of these will likely allow you to build a substantial, maybe 5 to 10K, 20K per month max business. But of course, all three work better together. If someone clicks on your ad, then consumes your content, that sale is much easier. If someone opens your email, decides to finally get on a call, and before getting on that call, they actually search you up and find your content, that sale is much easier. If you didn't have any of these things, the likelihood of that sale is much, much lower. Now, after installing all three acquisition channels, we're going to want to make lead magnets. You're going to determine the lead magnet. And this is where you dangle something free in front of an audience for them to enter our system and give them the opportunity to become future customers. Now, with a cold audience, we're going to turn them into hot leads. We're providing customer solutions upfront and introducing them to our service at the same time. This is the objective of a lead magnet. Now, what it does is add an audience member. They get nurtured over time. And over time, this is going to produce future customers. Now, from there, how do we actually convert all this attention that we're getting? We're funneling the attention into the lead magnet. How do we convert this? So we have our attention source. The data is collected. We have their name, email, number, any optional data such as how much they're making per month. They're then added to our newsletter for further nurture. The appointment setter is going to manually reach out to these leads using our CRM. Now, this is where our appointment setter comes into play. This is key. The setter does not immediately try to book an appointment. No, what instead they're going to do is ask for feedback on the free resources or lead magnet or whatever it was that actually brought them in. From there, I introduced to you content assets. Now, what these content assets we create are going to do is completely optimize our sales process as well as aid us in audience growth. And now with our sales process, we're going to get increased value perception. We're going to quicken our sales process as well, because as the same thing is going to happen with our audience growth. We're building trust. We're building authority. We're giving ourselves a unique brand image. We have competitive advantage. And overall, the value of everything that we're offering is increased. Now, what this is going to do is allow us to enter this flywheel. The flywheel of content distribution, which leads to awareness, which leads to trust. And once you have trust, you then have influence, and that gets you a client. Now, I'm pretty sure you know, like everybody, anyone who gets on a sales call with Iman Gadzhi is closed the easiest. Iman Gadzhi has by far the biggest personal brand. This makes closing people extremely easy. Now, when someone has been educated by you, they trust you, and they have your influence, that is the easiest way to close clients. However, it doesn't stop there, because we're going to use that client as an asset, and we're going to pump that back into our front end marketing system and gain value from them, which is going to allow us to gain more attention through our content distribution system, ultimately just turning this into a complete flywheel. Now, when we're using content assets to educate these leads that we already have, they're going to be more intrigued. They're going to wonder, okay, I've watched your content assets. How are you actually doing this? So intrigue is built, trust is built, and authority is present. You're in the teacher position. Now, if we remember back to school and when we used to be in school, who had the most authority in school? It was always, teacher, I have a question. How does this work? When someone's asking you a question, how this works, you're now in the teacher's position and you have all the authority and influence. This leads to prospects booking high intent, warm calls with us. Now, after all this time, you're still here. You're still watching me on this video. So I have an offer for you. After all this time you spent with me, I'm going to make you an offer. As I said in the beginning of this video, it's knowledge times action that will determine your outcome. So what I'm going to offer to you is a walkthrough and implementation call. At the very least, you will have a walkthrough of how to implement this exact funnel by yourself, as well as a step-by-step guide of what you need to do every single day to make this work. Now, at the very least, this is exactly what you will get: a day-by-day action guide, as well as a full walkthrough of how to implement this funnel. At the most, we will partner together and I will personally help you scale to $100,000 per month. The problems that we're going to solve is how to find service market fit, how to solve client acquisition by installing the full 3 acquisition channels as well as lead magnets, solving sales, firing yourself from the business, how to create content assets, how to build a brand, as well as the key hires and the people you need to actually scale yourself to a real business. With that being said, the link is down below. Go ahead and book a call with me and I will see you on the other side.